kicking off another deep dive today. And this one has me pretty pumped. Yeah, all about Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, fun.
We've got some really interesting biographical excerpts.
Oh, cool.
To kind of get to know the man behind the laughs.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to dig in.
It's really cool stuff. It's amazing to see like the full picture of his career.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting is we all know him from like the Tonight Show.
Mm-hmm.
But his career goes so far back.
Right.
So to start off, like, what were some of the early things, the early highlights?
Well, you can't talk about Jimmy Fallon without talking about Saturday Night Live.
Right.
You know, back in the late 90s.
Yes.
I mean, that's where he really kind of cut his teeth.
Right.
Honed his comedic skills, became, a fan favorite for those impressions, those hilarious musical sketches.
Yeah, and it wasn't just any impressions. It was like he had this way of capturing the essence of the person.
Yeah.
Like even their little quirks.
Yeah.
But always with this like playful, positive energy,
Mm-hmm, totally. And that's something that you see that translates so directly to his success later on.
Yeah.
Think about those Wheel of Musical impressions.
Oh,
like he's not just mimicking, he's like inhabiting the artist.
Totally.
And then adding this like extra layer of humor.
Yeah, it's
a unique skill.
It's almost like he unlocks something in the celebrities too.
Oh, for sure.
Like they let loose and have fun in a way that they might not on other shows.
And I think that's the magic of his persona, right? Like he's so approachable, self-deprecating, but then also so clearly very talented.
Yes.
And so it puts people at ease.
Yeah.
Which is so essential for late night, right?
Right.
You have to be able to.
Okay, so after SNL, he kind of went on to do some movies like Fever Pitch, Taxi. Yeah. It felt like a little bit of a departure at the time.
It was, and it's interesting to look back at those roles now.
Yeah.
I think, he was clearly trying to branch out, explore different comedic styles.
Yeah.
But you can also see that like that fast-paced, improvisational energy that really defines him.
Right.
It wasn't always a good fit for movie scripts.
Totally.
Like it's just a different beast.
Yeah. Totally. And then came like his big return to TV.
Right.
Late Night in 2009.
Yep.
Was this where things kind of clicked into place?
Absolutely. This is where we start to see the Jimmy Fallon formula that we know and love today.
Yeah.
Like all the games, the musical bits, the segments that were like designed to go viral.
Yeah.
I think he really tapped into something there, especially for like younger viewers, who were consuming entertainment as much online as they were on TV.
Yeah, so I have to ask, like when he was introducing things like lip sync battle,
right? Did
he like know it was going to explode like that, or was it just kind of a happy accident?
I mean, it's probably a mix of both.
Okay.
I think Fallon has like such a keen sense of what's entertaining.
Yeah.
But his team deserves a ton of credit, too.
Of course.
Late Night is not just a host. It's a whole creative machine behind the scenes developing those ideas.
Right. And then it's like, in 2014, he gets The Tonight Show. Yeah. Which is like, huge pressure. Like you're following legends like Johnny Carson, Jay Leno.
Exactly.
Like what was that like for him, do you think?
Oh, I mean, talk about stepping into some big shoes.
Right.
But, I think instead of trying to mimic them, Fallon really leaned into what made him different. Yeah. Kept the games, kept the music, but elevated them, brought in bigger stars, and really amped up that sense of spontaneity and fun.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier like the digital age. Mm-hmm. Was that a deliberate strategy?
Oh, it had to be.
Yeah.
By that point, social media was dictating what people talked about.
Right.
Lip sync battle is like the perfect example, right?
Totally.
Like that was made to be shared. Yep. It was made to generate buzz and expand the show's reach far beyond its time slot.
Okay, so things are going great. He's on top of the world.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, this blackface controversy hits.
Right.
It's this 20-year-old SNL sketch that resurfaces.
Yeah.
And there's this massive backlash.
Huge backlash.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on that whole incident?
Well, I think it was a really stark reminder that no one, not even Jimmy Fallon, is immune to the court of public opinion, especially in the age of the internet where everything is constantly being re-examined.
Are you saying this incident, while obviously serious, also like revealed something
totally
about the environment that he was working in.
Exactly. Like the landscapes had changed drastically.
Yeah.
You know, what might have flown under the radar a decade earlier
right.
could suddenly derail a career.
Right.
You know, so it speaks to the need for constant awareness adaptation, even for someone as established as Fallon.
Right. And he did issue a public apology.
He did.
But it definitely raised questions about like how celebrities navigate
of course.
these situations, right?
Absolutely. It's not just about apologizing. It's about understanding like the evolving societal context.
Right.
And demonstrating genuine growth and change.
Yeah. And then that brings us up to, you know, another huge challenge that he faced along with everyone else, which was the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden, late night is being filmed from home.
Yeah.
It's this whole new set of limitations.
Totally. Yeah. And yet this is where you see, I think, his adaptability, like in action.
Okay.
You know, those at-home episodes felt very raw,
right,
unpolished. You know, it was a side of him that we hadn't really seen before.
You're saying authentic, but was it truly authentic?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost impossible to separate like the real Jimmy Fallon from the persona he's cultivated over the years, right?
Right.
But what matters is that it felt authentic to viewers at a time when everyone was craving like connection and normalcy.
So he kind of unintentionally tapped into something that the audience needed at this really difficult time.
Totally. Yeah, it highlighted his ability to connect with people on an emotional level.
Okay.
Which is arguably even more important than any clever joke or viral segment.
Okay, so before we go and jump into like his impact on pop culture and all that, I'm curious, like after the pandemic, did things just go back to normal for The Tonight Show?
That's a really good question.
Or had something like fundamentally shifted?
I think that's where we need to pick up.
Okay.
Because I think the landscape of late night was forever altered.
All right. Well, we'll come back to that then.
Yeah.
And dig into it some more.
Definitely. Yeah, so much has changed even just in the last few years.
Right. And it's amazing how he's kind of like navigated that, you know?
It really is. You watch his career and it's like this tightrope walk between staying true to like his comedic roots, but also constantly evolving.
Yes. Trying new things.
Yeah. And so many entertainers struggle with that, right?
Totally.
It's so easy to fall into like a rut and do the same bits over and over.
Yeah.
But Fallon has this knack for like reinventing himself while still being Jimmy Fallon.
Yes. You always know it's him.
Yeah.
Whether he's like interviewing somebody or doing some like goofy game or whatever.
Totally.
But he somehow keeps it like fresh.
It's like he's still having fun after all these years.
Yeah.
And I think that's the secret sauce, right? That genuine sense of enjoyment, even when he's being completely ridiculous.
Totally.
It's infectious.
It really is.
And it's disarming.
We have to talk about his impact on pop culture.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the guy is a viral sensation.
He is.
I mean, how many late night hosts can like launch a whole show, like lip sync battle from a simple segment?
It's incredible. It really is.
Like, was that calculated?
It's a good question.
Or did they just stumble onto something?
You know, I think it's a testament to Fallon's understanding of music.
Okay.
Like his ability to collaborate with artists and his awareness of what works online.
Yeah.
That history of rap medley, for example, with Justin Timberlake. Oh my God. Like millions of views, endless imitations.
I know.
Broke the internet.
So genius, but like, did they know?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But I think it was both like spontaneous, but also meticulously planned.
Right. And he's done similar medleys with other artists too.
Oh yeah. From Ariana Grande to Cardi B.
Yeah. He's found the formula.
You say formula, but I wouldn't underestimate his talent.
Okay.
He's a musician himself.
Right. He plays the guitar.
Plays guitar, sings, drums a little bit.
Yeah. It's easy to forget that.
It's easy to forget that he's not just a comedian.
Yeah.
He's a true performer.
Yeah, and you can see that passion.
Absolutely. There's this joy and energy that he brings to the musical segments.
Yeah.
You get drawn in.
Do you think his career would have been different if he hadn't left SNL when he did?
It's a great question. It was a risky move.
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But I think it speaks to his ambition, his willingness to push himself creatively. He wasn't content with the status quo.
Right.
He wanted to explore, and honestly, I think it was brilliant.
So you think SNL would have been, too limiting?
Perhaps. Yeah, I mean, SNL is iconic.
Yeah.
But it's a very specific format.
Right.
And I think Fallon really thrives on spontaneity.
Okay.
Those unscripted moments of magic. I'm not sure if that would have translated as well within the confines of sketch comedy.
You can still kind of see that SNL energy.
Oh, definitely.
In everything he does.
It's part of his DNA, that playfulness, that absurdist humor.
Right.
But on The Tonight Show, he was able to amplify it.
Right. Create a whole world.
Yeah.
Okay, but we have to circle back to the blackface controversy.
Yeah, we do.
It was a dark spot.
Yeah.
It raises important questions about accountability and how we view past actions.
Right. What was acceptable decades ago can be deeply offensive today.
And it also shows how quickly things can change.
Oh, yeah.
In the digital age.
The internet has a long memory.
It really does.
Social media can amplify things so quickly.
Yeah.
It's something all public figures have to be aware of.
To Fallon's credit, he did issue a public apology.
He did.
He acknowledged the harm that he caused.
Yeah, which is essential.
Yeah.
In these situations, it's about demonstrating genuine remorse.
Right. And a willingness to grow.
Exactly.
It sparked this larger conversation.
Yeah, it did.
About race, representation.
Yeah.
And sensitivity in entertainment.
A conversation that's still ongoing.
Yes.
And I think one that we all have a responsibility to engage in.
Yeah. So we've talked about the highs. We've talked about the lows.
Yeah.
The challenges, the triumphs.
Yeah.
What does the future hold for Jimmy Fallon?
That is the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the late-night landscape has changed so much.
Right.
Even just in the past few years.
Yeah, you've got streaming, you've got shorter attention spans, the rise of, TikTok, YouTube.
Right, it's a whole new ball game.
So how does someone like Fallon adapt to that?
That's where things get interesting, because he has shown that he can adapt.
Okay.
He's not afraid to try new things, experiment with different formats.
We've seen that with the children's books, with the Christmas special.
Exactly. Diversification is key.
Yeah.
Can he leverage his brand, his comedic voice into something?
What do you think? Would he ever abandon late night altogether? Start a podcast or something?
It's possible. I mean, he has the personality, he has the connections, the huge following.
Right.
But even if he doesn't make that kind of drastic shift, he'll need to evolve how The Tonight Show itself functions.
So it's not just Jimmy Fallon adapting, it's the whole
machine
behind him adapting as well.
The writers, the producers, everyone involved.
Wow.
Thinking about this new media environment.
This adaptability thing is like a survival skill.
It really is.
It's more than just a fun personality trait.
For sure.
This is like how you stay alive in this business.
Absolutely.
It's really fascinating.
It is. And you know what? We should probably talk about what we can all learn from this.
Yeah, let's dig into that.
Let's dig into the key takeaways.
Okay.
Thinking about everything we discussed about Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
There are some really powerful lessons that we can take away from his journey.
For sure.
Both the highs and the lows.
Yeah. So what are some of those lasting lessons?
Well, I think one of the most striking ones is the power of staying true to yourself. Throughout his entire career, Fallon has consistently embraced his brand of humor. That goofy energy, his love of music and games.
Yeah, he's never
He never tried to be someone he's not. And that authenticity has been huge for his success.
Yeah, it's so true. Even when he's interviewing a huge celebrity, it feels like he's just genuinely excited to be there.
Totally.
He's a fan.
Yeah.
Getting to hang out with his heroes.
Exactly. And that enthusiasm is contagious.
Yes.
It makes viewers feel like they're part of the fun.
Yeah.
Like they're right there in the studio with him.
And speaking of fun, another takeaway is the importance of not taking yourself too seriously.
Oh, absolutely.
Fallon's never afraid to be silly, to laugh at himself.
Yeah.
To embrace the absurd.
He's a goofball at heart.
Yeah, and it's refreshing.
Yeah, in a world that can feel so serious.
Yeah, totally.
So self-important.
But it's not all fun and games.
Right, exactly.
Like, he's faced some serious challenges. We've talked about, the blackface controversy.
Yeah.
The pandemic. How has he navigated those difficult moments?
Well, I think he's shown a willingness to learn and grow from his mistakes. Yeah. He's owned up to his missteps, apologized, and really demonstrated a commitment to doing better.
And just as importantly, he's continued to evolve.
Oh, absolutely.
Adapt to this, ever-changing industry.
100%.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head with that. Adaptability.
Yeah.
That's a recurring theme in his career.
It really is.
Constantly experimenting with new formats.
Yeah.
Embracing new technologies.
Right.
Finding ways to stay relevant.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So as we kind of close out this deep dive, I have one final question for you.
Hit me.
What's your prediction for Jimmy Fallon's future?
Oh, man, that's the big one, right?
Yeah.
It's so hard to say for certain.
Yeah.
The entertainment world is a wild beast.
Right.
What works today might be gone tomorrow.
Totally.
But I'll tell you one thing.
What's that?
Jimmy Fallon is a survivor. He's got that knack for connecting with audiences.
Yeah.
That willingness to adapt. A genuine passion for what he does.
So you're saying, never count him out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He might need to, tweak his approach, experiment,
Embrace different formats.
Right. But I have a feeling he's going to find a way
to
entertain us, to make us laugh for years to come.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
This fun.
Into the world of Jimmy Fallon. It's been a fascinating journey.
Absolutely.
And we hope you've learned a thing or two along the way.
For sure. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep laughing.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks.